I've told students, if when they got out of school, they got a punch card with 20 punches on it, and that's all the investment decisions they got to make in their entire life, they would get very rich because they would think very hard about each one. And you don't need 20 right decisions to get very rich. 4 or 5 will probably do it over time. So I don't worry too much about the things I don't understand. If you understand some of these businesses that are coming along and can spot things on, if you can spot on Amazon, for example, you may have an entirely different field of expertise than I would have, and probably much more up to date in terms of the kind of businesses that we're seeing evolve. And you can get very rich if you just understand a few of them and understand their future.
Let me give you the secret. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Once I got that, it turned my life around. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you'll make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. If you would have known me at age 25, you would have said, Jim Rohn's a hard worker. If you'd have known me, you'd have said that. I'm the guy, I don't mind coming a little bit early, staying a little bit late, I don't mind that. You'd have said, well, Jim Rohn's a hard worker. You say, well, how come he's got pennies in his pocket and nothing in the bank and behind on his promises? Well, I was a hard worker, but I was working hard on my job, not on myself. I'm telling you, if you'll learn that simple little principle and start the process today, latest tomorrow, I'll give you tonight to think it over. Make yourself more valuable to the marketplace. I'm telling you, you can so dynamically change your income, and economics is the least of the values that you can start earning in terms of equity if you'll start working harder on yourself than you do on your job.
But really, today in society, you get rewarded for creative work, for creating something brand new that society didn't even know yet that it wanted, that doesn't know how to get other than through you. So the most powerful money makers are actually individual brands. They're individual brands, eponymous name brands, who themselves are leveraged. They have knowledge that nobody else has. So because of this unique, what I call specific knowledge, because of the accountability that you have with your name, because of the leverage that you have, you're a money-making machine. The way to get out of that competition trap is actually to be authentic. The way to retire is actually to find the thing that you know how to do better than anybody. And you know how to do that better than anybody because you love to do it. No one can compete with you if you love to do it. Be authentic, and then figure out how to map that to what society actually wants. Apply some leverage, put your name on it so you take the risks, but you gain the rewards, have ownership and equity in what you do, and then just crank it out.
I tell those students that come that they're going to graduate schools and business, and they're learning all these complicated formulas and all that. If they just learn to communicate better, and both in writing and in person, they increase their value at least 50%. If you can't communicate, somebody says, it's like winking at a girl in the dark. Nothing happens, basically. And you have to be able to get forth your ideas, and that's relatively easy. It's just hugely important. And if you invest in yourself, nobody can take it away from you.
If you want to be a millionaire, you can do it. But there's a couple things you have to be able to accomplish. Rule number 1, find something you can be good at and then be great at it. Second, you have to know how to sell. Whatever it is you're good at, somebody's going to need that service. Someone's going to need that, whatever it is that you're creating. But you have to be able to sell because you don't want to be in a position where you're dependent on other people. Number 3, be curious and always be learning. Because the one thing that's certain about business is that it changes every single day. And then the 4th thing, when you have that knowledge, when you have that ability to sell, when you know that when you walk into a room, you know you're better than anybody else in the room, that's when it's time to start a company. Then you can start to control your own destiny.
People are upset and frustrated with themselves because they know if they gave their best, their dreams would become a reality. They're disappointed with themselves. In that moment, a man must have the conversation with himself. I've had this conversation with myself where I was disappointed with myself. I was upset with myself because I did more of this than I did the working. And then I had to choose to make the adjustment or take the L. That's the choice the man has to make. So if that's where you are, look, some of us have a different life. Some of us got to take a step back at 43 years old. Some of us got to take a step back at 52 years old. You got to, for hell, nowadays we're going to live to 90 years old. We're going to live to 100 years old. So it's not like, a 60-year-old today, a 50-year-old today is really 50. A 50-year-old today is a 30-year-old 40 years ago. But it won't work for you if you BS yourself and the world. You have to be very real with you and face the man in the mirror and have the combo. And then from there, ask if you have the courage to make some changes moving forward. Do it. Go be honest about it. Make some progress.
My dad, when he got sober, I said, Dad, are you going to stay sober the rest of your life? And this is where the power of one more comes in. My dad says, I don't know. I can tell you this, I'm going to stay sober for one more day. And so when I went through that, my dad called me. I was really broke. My dad goes, you thinking about quitting? And I go, yeah, I'm close. He goes, just don't quit for one more day. He's so wise. And I didn't. And that not quitting for one more day and holding on would go to the next day and to the next day. But there were these glimpses in my life where it's like, you know what? I may not be the smartest or the best talker. I definitely don't have the highest IQ. I'm not the tallest dude or the strongest dude or the best looking dude or any of that. But I'm not going to get outworked. I'm going to outwork you. I'm going to do one more rep in the gym. I'm going to do one more phone call. I'm going to do one more email. I'm going to do one more text. I am one meeting away from changing my life. I'm one decision away. I'm one relationship away. I'm one new thought. I'm one new client. I'm one away.
Who's winning in this economy right now?
The rich, guys like me. You know, we have gone from having 93 billion, top 400, in 1982 to having 2.4 trillion, 25 for one. People who, it becomes a more and more specialized market economy. It was an agrarian economy a couple hundred years ago. It's very hard, you know, to get 20 times the wealth of the next guy because you were a little bit better farmer. But if you're better at some skills now, you can become incredibly wealthy at a very young age, not because you've earned the money to build one steel mill and then saved it to buy another steel mill. So you get the capitalized value of an idea. And so the wealth moves big time, even on an anticipatory basis. And that has become more accentuated in the last 30 years.
Do you guys know a year and a half ago what they were bashing Buffett for? Warren Buffett sitting on $125 billion of cash with Berkshire Hathaway. We feel Warren Buffett's lost his ways. You know, he is no longer the same Warren Buffett he once used to be. The last 7 years he's been losing to S&P. You are better off to put the money in the S&P 500 or Bitcoin or Ethereum rather than putting the money with Berkshire Hathaway. How many of you guys would love to have $125 billion of cash today? What do you think he's about to buy? He's going shopping. And guess what he's buying the next 3, 6, 12 months? Companies on flipping sale. And the next thing you know, boom, next level. Now, the guy is not going to live another 26 years to see a couple more doubles. I think he's 90 years old right now. But the point is this. What if many of us think like he does? What if many of us think like he does? I'm telling you right now, go to the cemetery of former money makers filled with short-term thinkers everywhere.